Hey guys, it's Julian. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make hard melodic techno melodies. Now we're going to be talking not just about how to do it or the theory behind it, but kind of some ways to make it better too. You know, I've heard some tracks from you guys where I think some things could really be improved, and I want to show you guys some of the techniques I use to make them the best I possibly can. Now, to go along with this video, I've actually just dropped a new sample pack called 10 Powerful Hard Melodic Rave Techno Constructions Volume 2. What this is, you can see it right over here. So it's actually 10 of these kits where you get a bass, a lead, and then a pad. For each one, you have the whole kit plus each individual layer as loops and as MIDI, so that you can actually just go and use these with your own sounds. And then on top of that, this time around, I've included the project files. In Volume 1, I did not have the project files, so this time you get the project file. Literally what you see in front of me right here, you have that for all 10 of these. So you can really go and work with them. You can use the presets to make your own tracks, whatever it is, but that's all down there. On top of that, I've included some bonus drum loops and some bonus effects. So you really have almost everything you need, and I'll play you some of these really quick. So you can hear it's all really solid. It gives you everything you need to make these style of tracks. You know, I'm trying to create resources here that aren't just like a sample pack for the sake of being a sample pack, but really this is something I don't think is anywhere else on the market. There's nobody else making packs like that. It's really high quality stuff. You know, it's all just on the same level as the tracks that you guys love in the style that are really popular right now. So yeah, definitely go grab that if you guys want to support me and you want to get a great sample pack for this style that's really going to take your tracks to the next level. Link is right at the top of the description. Thank you so much for the support, guys. It really helps keep me going as well. And yeah, let's dive in. So, I have one of these kind of constructions here. Now, typically with these kinds of tracks, the first thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is that you really, in terms of the melodic elements, at most, you're really going to want like 3. Like, nothing really much more than that. Maybe if you have like a little vocal sample or something like that, you could have 4. But overall, you're just going to have one very focused lead, which that's like most tracks are going to have that. Then if you want to do even more synth, you can add a bass, kind of playing like a chord progression. And then if you really need to add one more thing, then we can have this pad. Now, if you notice, none of these layers are playing the same thing, right? This isn't the style of music where you're just going to have, like, one MIDI file that you're going to drop to, like, the bass and the pad and all that. It's like all 3 of these are complementing each other, and you really don't want to have them, like, fighting for the same space. You know, it's like, for example, with this lead, like, I could put in the root notes. Like, I can take, like, these bass notes, and we can do, like, like the do-na-na-na. But then the thing with that, then the bass gets buried a little bit, you might notice. So it's better to just have the lead just go on those high notes and then let the bass play the bass. And I think this is really important because this style of track can be very powerful melodically if you do it right, but there's already going to be so much going on with the drums and with just the like high energy of the track that I think if you try to add too much melodically, it's just going to fall apart. And very quickly, you're not going to really get the message anymore. But these 3 elements, each one is like the best of what it does. So they just come together and make something very full, rather than having like 3 leads or something like that, where each one isn't even really that solid on its own. So yeah, that's the first tip. It's just really like, don't overdo it. You know, have like a nice lead, a nice bass, which has this kind of chord progression, and then if you want to, you can have the pad. But you really don't want to overcrowd it. Now, the other thing that you'll notice here, the lead is very simple, right? This is just 2 notes. And even over here, it's the same 2 notes. It's just down an octave. So it's better to have like a really simple like 2 or 3 note lead like this, and then just play with some call and response where like it goes from high to low, like that. rather than have it lead with like, okay, we're in the key of, like, let's say we're in the key of F sharp. Well, I could add, and that does sound cool. But then once we put that with everything else, the message is getting lost. And that's what you need to keep in mind. Is like, try to communicate the things that are going to be the loudest and then really exaggerate those rather than having little tiny things that you can kind of hear that aren't really going to translate, And yeah, so then the other thing here is I'll talk a little bit about the bass and the pad because these two have to have a very nice relationship. Like I said, you'll notice they change notes at the same time, right? Like it sounds like it's like one thing, but they're playing two different notes at any given time. You can see, so for example, right here, our root note, the bass line is playing would be B, so it's a B minor chord. So then the pad here is playing D. And if you look at this, like if we look at a B minor chord over here, you can see D is the middle note. So what's happening is we're basically creating just on this first one here. Like that right there is a B minor dyad, meaning just a 2-note chord. And when you put those together and it's two different sounds, it sounds really cool. Like I think if you just take this and do it all in one MIDI file, it's not going to quite be the same thing. Like it's writing those chords and then having those across two different instruments. And the way you do that is you write it in one MIDI file and then you copy and paste it basically. Like you just like, say I would write it like this, like maybe here, it would go to that. And then like that, like this would be one MIDI file. Right, like that's pretty cool. That's just minor third, ninth. And then what you do is once you have that whole thing, you just cut these out of here, paste them into the pad, and there you go. Another thing that helps is for the bass to be really low and for the pad to be really high too. I think that's part of the sound is that like difference between those two. But yeah, so that's all that's happening here. It's just like these interesting chords, and it's not always just following like a basic chord shape either. Like here, for example, you can see the bass plays F sharp, and the pad plays F sharp there too. So sometimes they are playing the same note, but like over here, for example, like the bass is playing B and then D, while the pad is doing F sharp and G. So we're actually doing like, yeah, like you can see, so this is actually like a fifth here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're doing a fifth, and then we're doing a fourth there of what the bass is playing. So that's how you're going to think about it. Again, it's actually pretty basic music theory stuff. Like if you know what you're doing in music theory and you kind of understand that, this is going to be like, oh, wow, okay. So I can just do that. The other thing, though, that I'll talk about with these is that you want to start with these. When you're trying to write like a track, like if you're trying to write your progression, you want to start with the bass. Define like that progression, and then go and do the pad. And then once you have those, that's when you can do the lead. If you're doing that type of a track where it's going to have this. If you're doing the track where it's just a lead and then lots of drums, then yeah, obviously just start with the lead. But in the case of a track like this, you want to start with the bass, because this lead is just two notes. That doesn't really tell you a lot, like emotionally and musically. But when you juxtapose those two notes over the changing notes in the bass line, and you're basically hearing the relationship between each of these bass line notes and that same pattern, that's super powerful. And I think when you don't have the bass line, like if you try to start with the lead and then go and write the bass line, you're going to end up with a lead that's way overcomplicated, and then the bass is going to be, it's going to be hard for the bass to come through. But this way, it's like, well, I already had this nice bass line. All the lead needs to be is just... and it's just going to work better. I think overall, it's about keeping it pretty simple, but making it something that is really powerful in its simplicity. And yeah, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file, samples, the MIDI, the presets, everything that you've seen in here, this whole sample pack, 10 powerful, hard, melodic rave techno constructions volume 2 is available right at the top of the description. Again, you get not just the individual audio of each layer of these, but also the MIDI files and the project files. So you have everything you need to make a track in this style. You literally have all of the like melodic stuff, you have presets, you got some drum loops, you got effects. You have everything you need. It's all available right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp. Not only do you get this awesome sample pack, which in my opinion is the best on the market for this style and will take your tracks to the next level, but also it really helps support me. You know, if you guys enjoyed these videos, I don't make a whole lot just off of the videos alone, but with these sample packs and stuff like this, I'm able to keep going. So definitely go grab that and support your boy. Thank you so much for the support, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.